She left just after dark, just after the light had gone properly and the valley had folded itself into black. It's the kind of night where your headlights don't reach as far as they should. She knew the road. She'd driven it hundreds of times, down from Heptonstall, past the walls, past the hedges, down towards Hebden Bridge, and the lights that should appear long before you stop looking for them. But tonight, they didn't come. The road kept going and going, and she started counting the bends. Heptonstall sits high above the valley, stone pressed into the hill, and roads that fall away fast towards Hebden Bridge, towards the dark line of the Calder below. And when the weather turns, or the light goes, those roads change character. Not dangerous exactly, just different. And there's one road in particular, the one that people take when they're leaving properly, down past the walls and past the hedges, past the points where the valley disappears and the next bend remains. And some roads, they last longer than they should. Not in miles, in feeling. And this is one of them. In daylight, you may never notice it. The descent feels ordinary then. Steep in places, tight at the edges, stone walls holding close to the road. It's the kind of route that, if you grew up here, you stop thinking about it entirely. You drive it automatically. Thought somewhere else, shopping lists, work, whatever waits at home. But at night, the road changes scale. The valley drops out of sight. The hedges rise darker. Headlights catch wet stone for only a second at a time. And because the bends fold inward, you never really see ahead. Only the next section, then the next, then another after that. You begin driving by expectation, and the mind starts measuring distance through memory instead of sight. The turn should be here. The opening should appear now. The lights down in the valley, well, they should have already arrived. And when they don't, something shifts. Not panic, not even fear at first. It's just awareness. A sudden sense of being fully in the moment. Hands on the wheel, your breath louder than before. The sound of tyres that move through rainwater. Headlights catching wet stone. And hedge branches that suddenly feel harder to recognise properly. But now, your attention has changed. And once your attention sharpens, time begins stretching with it. And that's the strange thing about roads like this. The road itself doesn't alter. The distance stays the same. The bends remain where they've always were. But the mind stops moving ahead of the body. Usually, you arrive somewhere before you fully notice the journey. Thought carries you forward, and minutes disappear. But sometimes, something pulls you back completely into where you are. And every second begins arriving whole. People rarely describe it properly. Not because they're hiding something, but because there isn't much to say. Only that the road felt longer, quieter, more enclosed than usual. That a familiar stretch seemed to hold them there, slightly beyond expectation. Not enough to become a story, but enough to be remembered. And roads around places like Heptonstall, they're perfect for it. The descent never reveals itself fully. Each wall resembles the last, and each bend delays the next landmark by only a few seconds more than expected. The valley appears, then it vanishes again. You feel suspended between places, not fully up on the hill anymore, and not properly down in the world below either. Years ago, before brighter roads and constant traffic, the feeling must have been stronger still. No steady ribbon of headlights, no distractions, just darkness, stone, weather, and the long descent away from the hill. A leaving road. A road people took after visits had ended, after funerals, after illness, and after long evenings in houses where conversation had become heavy. And perhaps that matters too, because people notice roads differently when they're carrying something inwardly. Maybe it's nothing more than the shape of the hill, the enclosed descent, the dark between bends, and the mind becoming too aware of itself. Or maybe some places simply hold awareness more tightly than others. Even now, late at night, if you leave Heptonstall that way, there's often a moment halfway down where the road seems to pause around you. Not physically, and not in a way that you could prove. It's just long enough for you to notice yourself inside. And when she finally reached the valley floor, the clock on the dashboard told her that almost no time had passed at all. But that wasn't how it felt on the road. And then eventually the valley opens, the lights return, and the road releases its grip. You reach the bottom, exactly where you always would have. It's only later, when you think back on it, that you realise how long those few miles seem to last. This has been the last road out of Heptonstall. And in places like these, it's often the quietest roads that stay with people the longest.